Man, I was just thinking how much I love the ENTJ. And this video is how to survive working with the ENTJ. And I have worked with two types of ENTJs, and I believe there are only two ENTJs that exist in the workplace. The extremely competent and successful and knows they're competent, and the extremely successful with crippling self-doubt. And as a casual observer, you can't tell. There's very little difference in terms of their performance. If you were just objectively looking at their performance, like in a sales setting or any sort of like executive setting, you would say this is the same person. But there's been a lot of YouTubers I respect that have talked about the ENTJ actually have this low self-esteem or low self-image. There's even to the point where the ENTJ has some self-hate about themselves, that they're not doing enough, they don't know enough, they could be working harder, and someone's gonna find out that, like, someone's gonna challenge me and work harder, and I can't have that. The ENTJ does not really care what they do. Sometimes like the INTJ, the INTJ might be a little bit more concerned about what they do, that FI being a little bit higher up in their function stack allows them the ability to want to connect with maybe the mission, or at least maybe selling a product they care about. That's something I've realized in my late 20s and 30s is like, I want to do something that I care about. I have not ever seen that with the ENTJ. They really just don't care. Whatever gets them the most money, whatever gets them the top of the food chain of the hierarchy is good enough. It doesn't have to be a product they believe in. Despite many success gurus telling you that if you care about it, you're passionate about it, that's the way to success. I think the ENTJ breaks that paradigm of success. They can be successful in industry they don't care about. They're at work, they're killing it, they go home, they don't care about it at all. And the reason success is inevitable is because of extroverted thinking, which is their dominant function. And in the corporate setting, and I say corporate because there's other settings where it might not be a winning function, but in the corporate setting, the inevitability of success is because of extroverted thinking. It will find a way to get to the top. It will understand, oh, well, I need to do this. I need to start taking these actions, or I need to start making these moves in order to climb the ladder and be successful. So that's why they're one of those types that doesn't have trouble being the best, because eventually they'll figure out what it takes to do to work the system or work the right people. And that's why I say TE is an inevitability function. It's like, I'm going to do well at this because I'll make it happen. The ENTJ is never asking themselves about, is the company mission driven, or do I care about this role, or do I care about my colleagues? And they might accidentally work for a company that happens to align with what they care about, or aligns with a hobby of theirs, or aligns with some sort of motivational story in their childhood. It's like, oh yeah, I can really connect with this, but that's not something they're asking when they accept a job or when they're working. They laugh at those that jump from job to job and go, gosh, I want to know their mission statement. I want to connect with it. I want to make sure that I'm doing something good for society. I can't name an ENTJ that has ever had that thought. And if you were to ask them about what their company's mission statement is or what their value system is, they'd be like, never read it. In the workplace, the ENTJ is not going to care about workplace drama. They're not going to want to get involved in it, which is kind of funny because I think that there's a number of ENTJs that actually cause drama because of the wake that TE leaves as it's making progress. People feeling slighted, people feeling bulldozed, even like people like bosses feeling incompetent because they just know that the ENTJ is either gunning for their job or can do the job better or makes them look bad. So there's a lot of things the ENTJ can do that is not very endearing to other people that actually can hold them back from success. But in terms of workplace drama, like if the ENTJ was working in someone next to them started crying, they would be like, I don't know what's wrong with that person. There would be no sympathy. It's like sucks to suck is a phrase one of my ENTJ friends likes to say a lot. Unlike the INTJ, the ENTJ is much more vocal when they disagree with something. And since they're better at articulating why they disagree, they can really clash instantly with managers and trainers or people that are teaching them something. They would just vehemently disagree if they don't believe in it. One of the worst things you can do to an ENTJ or in presence of an ENTJ is to say you're going to do something and then not do it and follow through, because pretty much you'll never be able to recover from not following through. I think when you're giving directions or tasks, be clear, because like I said on my INTJ video, the ENTJ will mostly just go ahead even if the data is unclear or the instructions are unclear, and then say, well, you didn't really tell me, so I just went forward. Like that is a very strong correlation to ENTJ, INTJ, where it's like, well, I thought what was best based on your unclear and incoherent instructions was to do this, and I didn't want you to repeat what you said because I was already sick of it. So we're just going to go forward here, and if you don't like it, well, then you can fix it. I think maybe the ENTJ and the ESTJ are the types that are most likely to burn out. And I would not consider a mental health burnout. I would consider literally they put too much on their plate burnout. Yeah, boss, I got it. Nope, I got plenty of time. I got capacity. I got plenty of bandwidth. And then when they realize that this too much on their plate is causing them to be unsuccessful, well, that's when you see that real spiral, that self-doubt, that like just completely crashing, because that's when they'll have like a cry at the desk. Like, oh my gosh, this person shows no emotion, but then they're just breaking down in front of people. That's like a real serious cry for help. And I've seen that. One place where the ENTJ starkly contrasts with a type like the INTJ is they really do care about status and money. They like to show that their tenacity and ferociousness gets them things, physical things. They're much more money driven than the INTJ. I think you can even look in history at ENTJs in business and INTJs in business or in entrepreneurship. The ENTJ is like, I want to get a lot of money. And if it happens to be in something that's a cool industry, that's fine, but money and title, success, that means a lot to me. The INTJ is like, if I do something cool and like I happen to make a lot of money, that's also a side benefit. But it's funny how the sister types seemingly can look very similar, but then that motivation for why they do things is different. And I think money, because we're talking about the corporate sense, is so different to the types. I think that the INTJ would be a type that would do something pro bono, where the ENTJ would see every opportunity to make money, add value, add something else, always have an offer that can make them money. And because they're great extroverted thinkers, there's always a skill that there's always something they can offer to somebody that could potentially be very rewarding. What do you guys think about ENTJs? Have you worked with them? If you are one, what is your working style? I guess, this video might come across negative, but it's not, I don't think it's very fun to highlight all the great parts about all the types. It's like, what are some of the kind of the darker underbellies of the types? Like, how do they operate? How do you deal with them? Because this is about surviving the type. This is about, if you're hearing what I'm saying about the types, well, you have to adjust. You're definitely not going to challenge the INTJ and ENTJ, their competence. And if you do, it better be good. And there better be a solution like, hey, you did this wrong. That's okay. Here's how I would do a little better. And I think you're going to appreciate it. Just challenging them straight up is never going to work. And I think with the ENTJ, more than the INTJ, challenging their competence is never going to be good unless they respect the hell out of you and they look up to you, which is kind of the joke. Like, there's very few people they do. So what is your feedback on the ENTJ? Have you worked with them? What was your experience? And also just like, what is the best case and worst case scenarios you've had working with ENTJs? Thank you for watching.